Now, it is great to talk some positive cricket news. Australia winning the third test against India to get their tour back on track. But Mark Taylor, the ICC has deemed the pitch in indoor poor. What does that mean exactly?
It was very poor. That's what it was. I think that was a very kind conclusion drawn by the ICC. It was a very poor pitch. When you go to India, you expect to play on low, slow turning pitches. That's been the case for as long as I've known the game of cricket, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's the way you expect to play in India. But you don't expect the ball to go through the surface of the pitch on day one, and that's what happened. And that's not a good pitch. There's a lot of talk in India about, what about the Gabba this year in Australia? That was also a poor pitch because the groundsman in Australia got it wrong also. He left too much grass on it, and it also got a poor rating. So what it means, though, is that if you get a couple of poor ratings in a row, you lose international status, I think, for something like 12 months, which may be not a big concern to India because they play over something like 35 different venues. If the Gabba, for example, put out a poor pitch this year, which I'm sure won't happen, but if it was to happen, they can't host a test match, I believe, the following year. So that has big implications, which I like, because you want groundsmen to just prepare the best pitch they think is going to give the right balance between bat and ball and let the players do the playing after that. I don't like hearing from players or captains or support staff saying, we want a certain pitch. I like to see the groundsman just getting told, get out there with the conditions that you've got, put out the best pitch, which is going to give a good balance between bat and ball. That's what should happen, and it doesn't always happen that way.
Well, the Indian captain's come out now and says, well, we want to have a nice green top because we want to start practising for England and stuff. So he's really asking the groundsman to give him exactly what he wants. I know it goes against traditional things, Stubbs, but with India now setting a whole new set of rules and stuff, do you think this might be the way that we might go with it ourselves now? We're not leaving it like the traditional, like you're saying. We're having whatever we want.
No, as I said, I don't like it. Because the only reason they're saying that now is because Australia, having won that third test match, they have now qualified for the World Test Championship, which will be at Lord's in early June, and it's more likely they'll play India. So now India has got their sights set on that game. So now they don't want a low, slow pitch in India anymore because they want to get ready to play Australia at Lord's. So now they want another sort of pitch. Test matches shouldn't be lead-up games to World Test Championships. They should be test matches. If I was the groundsman at arm and a bat, I'd say, Rohit Sharma or who's ever asking, I don't really know. You just play cricket. I'll prepare the pitch. End of story.
I mean, is it really more than them just making comments, though? Is this the media maybe, bringing it up for us to discuss?
It could well be. As I said, I don't know where it's come from, but as I said, the way it should be is, as I said, groundsmen do pitch preparation, players play on that pitch.
A lot of pressure on the groundsman, isn't there?
Yeah. And we like, what we do like around the world is seeing different pitches. Australia, as I said, they'd have gone to India knowing full well they had to play on low, slow turning pitches. And if they haven't got the players or the talent to beat India on those pitches, well, they're not good enough to win in India. They've shown that they can win in India now because they've got better because they've played on a few. And that's what we want to see. When India come to Australia, they've beaten us here the last couple of times because they've got better playing on pitches that go through, because they're now starting to do that a lot more in India. Then you've got an all-round, very good cricket side. That's what we want to see from a number of test-playing nations.
It has been a really exciting week of Test cricket, but a lot of discussion has come up regarding the aggressive style of cricket many teams are now playing and whether Test matches do need to go 5 days or they should be shortened to 4 days.
I've said for a while now, I think cricket should move with the times and bring in 4-day Test matches. I think it just works better. Players like to have 3 days off between games. So 4-day test matches work. Play something like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Friday to Monday. So that way you guarantee the weekend. Then 3 days off and you can do it all again. So I think that works well. I think it also then puts the onus on skippers to be a little bit more adventurous at times. Lose a bit of time, get a really flat pitch. Well, declare earlier. We don't need to see 500 runs scored in every innings. The best games of cricket have always been where a side makes about 300 to 350 and the second side does exactly the same. And then you've got a really good game of cricket. 400, 500 plus in a total generally very rarely leads to a good game of cricket.
Well, we've seen, cricket evolve, like we've got 2020, everything's getting shorter. If we start cutting it to 4 days, is this like the beginning of the end of long format cricket games?
Well, I think we're seeing, unfortunately, Kate, I think we're seeing that anyway. That South Africa have already requested less Test cricket in the future. which is a really bad sign for Test cricket. So I think the only way to keep Test cricket is to make it more interesting, make it more playable, fit it in the schedule more, which is now becoming more and more cramped all the time with all sorts of T20 leagues, and then say, righto, this is our window for Test cricket, this is when we're playing it, and 4 days Test matches I think will help that.